Hey, how can you beat this weather? Question, you can't beat this weather. It's gorgeous. We have had a wonderful streak of weather, and it's going to continue, believe it or not. High 80s this week. We got a couple of my friends who are politicians. They're Democrats. They're here to talk about, is it a dysfunctional board up there in Waterloo, or what is it? We'll get their opinions on many topics this morning. Steve Churchill and Cindy Lorenzetti are back. We had them individually on this show, but I thought it would be nice to do a duet, let's say. Bring them both in together so we could hash over some topics which are important to me and to Jim and to all of us that live in Seneca County, because they represent us in a way, obviously, along with others, to determine the direction that this wonderful county is going to go, and hopefully not off the road, I might add. It's good to be with you on a Monday morning. This is the Dog H. Weber, another edition of Weber this week. And again, before I forget, before we get to our guest, I want to remind you that I do play golf with Brad Jones, who's a well-known name in the area, and I'm happy to report that I took $10 from him yesterday and some golf wagers, and it is framed on my apartment above the fireplace. So thank you, Brad, for the $10 donation, and hope to get some more later this morning when we go to Clifton Springs on a reciprocal. Well, without further ado, it's good to have my friends back. Steve, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Harold. Thanks for having me.
And Cindy, I want to give her the gamer of the Weber show. Her and her family were down checking out the old timers in Yankee Stadium. We're there a couple of days. Arrived back in the Finger Lakes area about 1 o'clock this morning, and you're here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Wouldn't miss it.
Cindy, thank you for coming on. Okay, let's start with ladies first. Cindy, certainly there's a lot of topics to talk about. Tell us a little bit about what is of concern to you specifically right now with the way the board is, and some of the topics you'd like to touch on to start the show. What is the thing that most concerns you right now?
With the Seneca County Board?
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, the Seneca County Board of Supervisors, our goal is to try to work together. Our mission statement would be the betterment of Seneca County and the people that live in it. I've been a little disheartened with some of the directions that we've headed in. We seem to have a group that want to have their best interest priority, and sometimes others aren't included. It just seems like we have to play that game a little bit. It's that political game that we all know takes place, but we'd like for it not to be as prominent as it is. I don't know. Everybody knows my stand. I think right. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and pretty much where I stand about whatever there is an issue to take upon. Some of the frustrating things are that you don't know sometimes how some of the board members are, because they kind of go in a flip-flop manner. So it's very difficult to kind of plan for when it comes time for a vote. And I just think that the board, with leadership, we need to have a more open communication between all board members.
Well, it's a good point. And Steve, you want to piggyback those comments relative to, there's discussions with Bob Heisen, who's the chairman, reelected amidst not a lot of controversy, but amidst the thought that he may not run, or when he did decide to run, he may not get it. He obviously got it. The concern that I was reading about was relative to him holding little powwows, and no pun indicated with the Indian issue, relative to sometimes meeting up with 2 or 3 of his buddies to discuss topics. And you were quite upset about it. And I remember reading your remarks that we are an entire board. We are representing the entire county. And your view was one that I share as well. It should be inclusion, not exclusion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was really put off by the fact that there was just 3 that met in secret, and they, come to find out they were meeting over the winter with the Native Americans. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't meet with those folks. I think that might be a great idea. I think discussion and talk is always a good way to go. The issue I had is that this board should have been made aware of it and should have condoned the meeting, actually sanctioned the meeting, and we had no input at all. And nor will we ever know what transpired on that meeting, that 2-hour meeting a month or so back. So, there were 3 people. Don Earl, Bob Shipley from Waterloo, and Bob Heisen that met with these folks, and they were just totally wrong for doing so without us knowing.
I mean, never having been a politician, you wonder why you would bring in just a small fragment of the entire board because the board is
without
the board.
the board's knowledge.
Exactly, without the board's knowledge. And it is what it is, and hopefully down the road it'll change.
Absolutely. That's all we can do.
But, we were talking prior to coming up to the studios to do the show. Steve, you were mentioning LP gas. You were mentioning some other topics that you wanted to touch on this morning.
Yeah, I've been working really hard with the folks down on the southern end of Seneca Lake because there is a proposal down there to create a LP and natural gas storage hub for the entire Northeast. It will not be a small operation by any measure. They're going to take these 50 to 60-year-old abandoned salt caverns and store liquid petroleum gas in there under pressure. There's been incidents and accidents in the past in communities. You don't hear too much about it, but it's just not a good fit for the Finger Lakes region. And of course, Seneca Lake is a source of water for over 100,000 people. It provides water for half of the people of Seneca County. So there is a long and growing list of government entities in the areas, primarily surrounding Seneca Lake, that have passed resolutions in opposition to the project and sent that message off to the state and the DEC. But I'm fighting like hell. I continue to take it to the town boards. I presented to Fayette Town Board a couple weeks back, and they passed a resolution unanimously opposing it. And I was in Romulus last week. They also passed a resolution. And I plan on continuing to keep going because I just dread for the future of our Finger Lakes region. And there's a few things you can live with, and there's a few things you can't. Water and air are two of the things you desperately need, and we can't screw that up.
I agree. Steve Churchill, and along with Cindy Lorenzetti, our special guest this morning at Weber This Week. Hope you're enjoying your Monday morning, and again, good weather forecast for the rest of the week. Cindy, another hot topic that, of course, is never going to go away. It's like a bad nickel every time you turn around. It's laying on the ground. Is the Cayuga Indian Nation and the Indian issue relative to Justin Bennett, the Unity Council, who seems to be much open to work with the county, possibly to even, God forsake, pay the taxes that are due. Then you have Clint Halftown, who is feet in cement, sending his lawyers to all the courts that will take the paperwork for appeal after appeal after appeal. I guess the good news, if you're anti-Halftown, is that he's lost with Bender. He's lost with Leone over in Cayuga County. Now I understand, and a judge up at Nancy Smith ruled against him. And now, of course, they had arguments, I think, recently at the highest court up in Rochester.
Yep.
We should be hearing about their decision. What's your take on what's developing? I know that things are developing kind of slow process. For me, just being a common layman living in this wonderful town, the finality would be nice to know. Who's in charge? Who's on first, to use a baseball term? And let's move on. I mean, this arguments and this unhappiness between both factions can only be problematic for this county. Continuing.
Yes, I agree with that, Web Dog. You want to talk about years? I know people that have fought for over 30 years.
Got it.
We have Rich Rickey.
Right, Rich.
We have the guys in the UCE. We have the guys that meet, once a month. Phil Knapp, that whole group. I actually have to put a plug in for a little lady that lives out in the town of Fayette, Dorothy Kime, who's in her 90s, and up until then she was huge going to meetings, and it's just very sad how it's dragged out with courts. And I think that it's dragged out with the courts because the top people in government, the federal level, nobody wants to make a decision. Nobody wants
amazing.
to. Nope, they just don't. They just feel that, obviously, because it's taken 30 years, nobody wants to take a stand and then move on with it. My opinion is, I know a lot of the board members thinks, it's good to be talking to the new group coming in, and right. I understand that. My take on it is this: I think that I would like to remain neutral, not become involved, and my only say to whoever it is that finally wins out is, again, this county welcomes anyone, any nation that wants to come in, but you have to do what everybody else does in this county. You have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
You have to pay taxes. You want to live here. You get the, you have the roads, you have the water, you have the sewer. Your kids go to public schools. And it's like, if you're going to be here, just pay what everybody else does, and we'll all work together. We'll all live in harmony.
And you have the sheriffs and the police department showing up, too, if there's a dispute.
Absolutely.
Which I don't I guess I understand safety, but I don't know totally if I agree with that. But again, I just think that if you want to be in a community, you have to pay your way in that community.
Steve, I assume you agree with what she's saying.
Oh, 100%, 100%. It kind of boggles my mind. Cindy asked the Unity Council when they came presented before the board. She just asked them, straight out, what about taxes? Why don't you pay taxes? Because they presented for 20 minutes, half hour, and it was a good presentation. And the response kind of boggled my mind because the response is, well, our culture, we don't really believe in property ownership and the concept of taxes. And I thought, you don't believe in property ownership, but yet, they want to claim the 64,000 acres that they owned it. Essentially, it's our land. Well, you either do or you don't believe in ownership. If it's not your land, then, if you don't believe in ownership, then move on.
Well, I made a comment, I think, to Brad Jones, who's obviously involved with the board, and he speaks, has reports on the Indian situation with him, and he's very fervent, very turned on about getting fair, as Cindy pointed out, equality, where everybody pays their fair share. I guess the comment I would say is if, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a child that wants to go to law school, get them to law school or her to law school right away, and after you come out of law school and get the right paper, beg to be an Indian lawyer. Beg. Because you would have nonstop zillions of dollars in your pockets.
Absolutely.
I want to be an Indian lawyer, and I know nothing about the law. Jim will be the first to tell you. But, oh, my God, let's go here. Let's file this paperwork. Oh, are you kidding me? And, folks, these people aren't making $12.50 an hour. Hello? I mean, they bring in this Washington LeBron, or what his name is, the Washington attorney. He's been speaking on behalf of Clint Halftown's causes. I mean, I heard rumors he's making $500-600 an hour. That's more than Jim pays me. Are you kidding me? Come on.
While you're on the lawyer, though, I'd like to make one point because I think folks in Seneca County miss this.
Amazing.
We pay Harris Beach a tremendous amount of money.
Right.
But to date, all of that money is coming out of the state, New York State. Because at the end of the day, the Native Americans are trying to capture or turn into sovereign, land in the trust. It's state land.
Right.
It's owned by the state. So the lawsuit, the litigation is really against the state. It's not really against Seneca County. And they have been footing that bill to date. There's been no Seneca County money paid for lawyer fees.
Cindy Lorenzetti and Steve Churchill are with us. I'm going to talk about an event that's being canceled this year that bothers me, and we're going to get their opinion on that, Cork and Fork. We're also going to talk about rail spur, landfill, a couple other topics. As you know, this time flies when we're having fun on a Monday. It's Weber this week on a Monday morning. Next week, Mike Armstrong, the manager of the Newark Pilot baseball franchise, will be on the couch. We look forward to Mike visiting the show. We'll come back after we hear from these great sponsors that make this show possible. Eagle Lake National Bank. Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora. A fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor, Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her great team will find that right spirit for you every time. Tell Amy the dog sent you. Steve Wadhams, Wadhams Enterprises, your employer of choice. Proud supporter of this show and local athletics. Bob and Leslie Ullman, owners of the Ullman Theater, in Lions as well as the Newark Pilots, a minor league baseball team with a major league ballpark. Lizard's Tailgater Lounge, Waterloo, best mott sticks around where you can enjoy a drink and some laughs. SenecaFallsCountryClub.com, awesome 18-hole layout, offering a 12-month payment plan. Home of the toughest par 4 in central New York. Wilson Press, WPress.com. Seneca Falls. Rich Ricky, my good friend, and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Rich Ricky, Wilson Press, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week.
He's got his things on.
Ah, yes.
Get ready.
It is a beautiful Monday morning. A couple old pals in the world of politics have joined me this morning. We've had them individually, but today we decided to bring them in together. Cindy Lorenzetti, of course, she does wear her heart, and she does speak her mind, which I like. A woman who stands up for what is correct. And I must ask you about Bob Heisen and your relationship. I got to ask you this because I would not be doing my job as a anchor of this show without asking you. From the outset, if you came in from Ukraine and read the papers, you would think that you and Mr. Heisen are like not compatible. Is that fair to say? Do you guys agree on most anything, or is it?
Or don't agree?
Do you don't agree on most everything? You guys have had many clashes. Let's put it that way. Whether they're portrayed in the papers incorrectly, it does seem that you question some of his decisions and some of his actions. Is that fair to say?
Okay. All right. Well, basically, I think our big issues where we don't agree is style that he leads with.
Okay.
And our other big contention is water.
Mm-hmm.
And being a new time supervisor, I was thrown into this huge water project that the town of Fayette and the town of Varick had taken on together.
Mm-hmm.
It's given me an education that I can't even tell the people of this county, but I do know one thing: water is a huge commodity. Just like Steve said, you can't mess with your air and you can't mess with your water.
Right.
Water is very political as it runs back and forth through towns. You have the two big suppliers. You have the village of Waterloo and now the town of Seneca Falls, which our little county is very unique because most counties don't have two water treatment plants. Right. So that being said in itself, it is a unique situation. Right. You get the water that flows through towns, and you have towns that mark up water and they try to make money off of water.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And then it can swirl back around and come back to another town and be at a different price. Or it could go through some town and then get marked up to actually the county because the county uses the water. That's been a huge thing. And it's not, I don't want to take credit for everything because there's a first committee that we formed in Fayette with people that are concerned about the water issues. People have spoke of a water authority. As Steve, when we get into talks of water, people get confused because nobody knows what the hell's happening.
Right.
And it's very frustrating. I think that's one of our biggest contentions with myself and Supervisor Hyson. And it's unfortunate that our towns now have been in litigation with this water district. And our towns, unfortunately, have come to terms that, we haven't been working well together in the sandbox. So I said we'll let the deputy supervisors, and I want to give Pete McDonald and Don Mayberry good credit because they kind of met and were trying to resolve some issues, which have taken a long time, and it's been a lot of hard work. But I think my one thing is we need to protect the water.
Right.
I don't think people should make money off of water unless you have reason, like if you own a treatment plant, you're chlorinating the water, you have to have money to be able to continue to go for your operation costs. So it's been a huge issue. I don't know if hopefully we'll make ground way with it, but to say in the least, we just have very different opinions and very different ways that we look to run a community.
Well, it's refreshing as a taxpayer, even though I rent, still pay taxes indirectly, obviously. It's nice to have someone hold Bob and anyone else accountable for their actions and their comments. I think it's great. And that's what it's all about. This is America. You should have a right for freedom of speech. You should be a right to contest authority if the chairman has authority, which I assume he does, or her in future years. The point being is that, I like the fact, and this is not to blow up your head, Cindy, I like the fact, and Steve as well, that put a little fire on somebody's feet when it's necessary. You may not win the vote because you don't have the majority, but at least you fight the good battle. And me, personally, as I approach my big 70th in another several months, I think it's great that we have representatives that do care and that want the right thing done at the right time cycle. That's important.
Well, I think you have to have checks and balances in place.
I do believe.
And if you don't, then you're going to be in big trouble.
No, I agree.
So.
That's exactly why we need some really good, strong Democratic candidates
there you go.
the next term, because we really need a good balance.
I agree.
And it's been out of balance for quite a while, to be honest with you.
Well, as time flies by here on a Monday with Steve Churchill and Cindy Lorenzetti being nice enough to join us on a beautiful Monday. Steve, talk about the rail spur. I know we don't have much time left, but give us your comments where that stands right now.
Well, in a nutshell, I mean, folks, the only thing I'd appeal to folks is say don't forget the rail spur, because Seneca Meadows certainly is going to come around again with this effort to bring garbage through our towns and our cities and our county and ramp up what they're doing out there. And I really, truly believe that most people are against it. Most people that I talk to are against it. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to, get ready for the next round of battles. I know right now their focus is on the clay mine in Waterloo, and I, for one, would hate to see that go through as well. I grew up in Waterloo. That landfill is just growing at an exponential pace. I mean, it just boggles my mind how quickly those cells get filled, and now they're working on their 4th cell, the development of that. I mean, there's dump trucks going through here every 30 seconds, constantly.
I know. I was at the Thruway.
And shame on them. I can't believe they haven't routed them around, down, at least around town. I can't believe that this town is allowing them to come through here. I think it's danger, number one. It certainly is disruptive and noisy, and it doesn't have to be. But, yeah, all we can do is, look, our goal is to make sure that they close in 2023. That's my goal. And I hope people join us. We got to figure out how to get ourselves weaned off this $2.8 million a year, but we're going to have to do it sometimes, folks.
I had a question, and we'll get to Cork and Fork in a second, which concerns me as well. But what about 318 heading out to the mall, the famous mall? Is that going to get commercialized? Are we going to be able to put water and sewer? Where does that stand as a timeline? Every time I drive that road, I think to myself, oh my God, a hotel could be here, a restaurant could be here.
Casino.
Casino?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Jim.
But, Steve.
I'll build one.
Where does that stand? 318?
Well, 318 has water.
Okay.
The water's out there. It's
Good.
the sewer that has really
okay.
And it's because sewer's so expensive to put in.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking potentially right now, I think, a $12 million project.
Well, we voted for a study to be done, correct?
Okay.
I mean, we're doing all the things we need to do at the board level,
right?
In working with the state and trying to get the grants to keep it going. We applied for a grant last year, got $250,000. It was fairly small. The Regional Development Council.
Okay.
They grant some money out. We're applying again this year. But the casino, if it comes in and partnering with the county, it may really drive it to completion. But it's just a big ticket.
Okay.
And, we're doing the courthouse renovation, the DA's office up there, and, we have limited resources.
I saw the ice cream stand open up there on 318.
Yes.
Heading toward the mall.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but
yeah. I went by the other day with Mary. And there it was.
Good.
So that was kind of nice to see that.
But I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it to happen, and if it does happen, it's only going to pay for itself anyways.
Oh my God, the opportunities! I would think people would come in there.
I think the casino is going to be a big draw, and I think it is. I know there's been a lot of people that I feel bad for them. They've lived out there, and they're not, too happy about the situation.
That's saying it lightly.
Yeah. We as a board have to look for we have to look for the benefits of the whole community and the whole county, and I think we need that to spark it up. And again, I've said about Wilmerite, they're not a Vegas-y firm. They're not coming in. It's not going to be glitter and glitz, and then they're going to be gone. Take a look at what they've done with Eastview.
Right.
It's beautiful. Again, they're the Wilmot families from Rochester. They're from the area. They've devoted tons of money into the Wilmot Cancer Center. Mm-hmm. So I just think they'll be a good fix for this community.
Yeah.
Well, certainly there is a faction of people that are not supporting it. They're going to fight it and fight it and fight it, and that'll go on for a while, I'm sure, litigation-wise. Yep. Let's, since we've only got a few more minutes left in the show, one event that I was reading about, and I bring you to this because you obviously are board members. I've met Jeff Shipley, the chamber president. I know his dad's a member of the board. My point was I was reading about it, and even Mary, my wife, said to me across the room, we were reading the same article at different periods of time, do you realize they're not having the Cork and Fork this year because they don't have enough staff? And Mary commented to me about, I have so many friends that go to that and enjoy it. It draws 2,500 to 3,000 people. And the chamber made the decision, and again, I'm not criticizing Jeff for these comments. It would seem to me, and Jimmy Seneca, who obviously owns this, fingerlikes1.com, that was one of the signature events, I believe, of the summertime.
Absolutely.
It's flat. And all of a sudden, we're not going to have it because of staffing. And Jimbo, you have a comment on that as well? I mean, to me, it just blew my mind. Why can't you go out and ask for help from other organizations
so
to
I
stage
understood
it?
The chamber runs it, and it takes their full effort, 6 months of the year to put that on.
Right. Yeah.
And so it just became too much. Now, if they could maybe solicit some help from some other agencies, maybe, because it was a good event and it fits perfectly with our agritourism initiatives and organic and restaurants and
so I don't know. It just kind of blew me away. Steve, any comments regarding it? Was you guys never knew about the concerns, right? Early on,
I got a phone. We got a phone call. We didn't know about
being
it.
pulled.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we asked
there was
the
rumors.
questions.
There were rumors floating around. And they were, when I first heard them, it was shocking to me as well.
Yeah.
I understand it, though, in a way. I mean, they were a very small organization.
Right.
They have 4 or 5 people working in there. They literally pulled in a few hundred volunteers.
Sure.
So it had to be overwhelming. And they are planning. The plan is to bring it back next year. They just need to retool, and hopefully they do. I think we can maybe get by with skipping a year because it was a premier event and a big draw. My wife and I went to every year. We volunteered the last 2 years to work out there, and they did a wonderful job. So hopefully next year they'll bring it back.
Yeah,
They will,
we'll certainly help them.
Oh yeah, and I think the board would do anything that we need
Absolutely.
to do
I mean,
to
it does.
promote it.
It showcases this region.
It does, and this region, and we could look to outside agencies for help. Maybe go over to Ontario County.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe Yates County had a lot of vendors that went.
I think it'll be back.
Yeah.
I think Aqua Festival's coming back, too.
Oh, I remember those days, Steve. Oh, baby. Now we are dating ourselves. I can still remember those days.
I only heard stories. I was never.
Oh, I was right in the middle of that, baby. Many a night, I can't remember where I was that night, but that was fun. Way back when, the Aqua Festival. God, that was a nice event.
But, we have to give the chamber credit. I mean, they dreamt it up. They made it happen. So, I mean, and it does have a life, and I think it's going to go on. So I got to give those folks a lot of credit.
Yeah, they did do a great job with it. So we'll bring it back.
Well, that's great. Listen, before we wrap up the show, and obviously we're getting close to being out of time, Cindy, go ahead, Steve.
I got one more thing that I just
okay.
want to make a plug for the white deer because that's another one of my things that I'm pushing hard.
Right.
Just to let folks know, I mean, a few weeks ago, Seneca Senator Nozzolio did call on the Finger Lakes Institute. We passed a letter essentially at the board level calling on a summit to get folks, the right parties, to the table so that we can discuss, do we want to help preserve the white deer? What do we want to do with the future of the depot when it comes to the conservation aspect? And I just want to put that plug out there.
That's great.
Because, look, as representatives, we need to hear from people. If you really think that we should be preserving and conserving that depot for the white deer, reach out to your representative and let them know.
I agree, Steve.
Cindy, what about one issue that you'd like to comment before we wrap it up? Anything that sticks out that we haven't talked about that you're involved in or that you're working with? Or
no, I think it was a pretty good interview.
What about Jim Boeheim's chances to be a top 5 team again this year after losing so much?
He's got to rebuild a lot.
Yeah.
He's lost a lot of talent, but that's what he's there for. He's the coach, one of the Hall of Famer coaches. So if anyone can bring it back, we're hoping it's him.
I think we'll be fine. We don't rebuild, we reload.
Reload. There you go.
Of course, Carmela's all but gone out of New York. Forget him. He's out of there. He's going to go to a contender, not a pretender. Those Knicks, they're woeful. And, of course, we shouldn't say woeful. The Yanks are struggling hitting the baseball. Cindy was there to watch the ineptness over the weekend, and even Tanaka got hit, so it was a bad weekend for the Bronx Bombers. But hey, they're still hanging in there. They're only 2, 3 out.
Right,
so
and it was what they do whenever they do anything. It's very expensive to go to Yankee Stadium.
You were telling me,
sure. But when they do it upright, and it was their 68th old timer. And when they have the golf carts come out with Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford, it's just makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if I could be with you, though, and your family. I wouldn't want to spend $5 on a bottle of water.
Oh, and beer was $11.
$11, Jim, for a beer.
Yeah, I've been there.
$11.
In the famous words of Yogi Berra, the future ain't what it used to be.
And speaking of Fayette, I was Mary. We had not been to the Groggery ever. We heard about this place, and I went with Mary the other night, and very good. I had a dish which I never heard of before. I do like pork chops. It was a pork chop, Jim, in root beer sauce. Root beer sauce.
Yeah. Sounds
sweet. It was good. And met the owners, Joe and Suzanne, I believe they're the owners. And I met Joe Scarelli. He's the auto guy, the repair shop, and he's a cook.
Yeah.
And they did a nice job. So I wanted to
taco night on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Yeah.
So I wanted
to
beautiful place.
Yeah, they put a lot of money in that place. I remember the old days, speaking of the Aqua Festival, the old Fayette Hotel.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spent many a night there going out to Romulus and South Seneca doing sports broadcasts. Yeah. Stopping on the way out, stopping on the way home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kudos to the Groggery, and it was nice meeting all you folks, and good luck to you down the road. Well, next week, of course, we have Mike Armstrong, the manager of the Newark Potted Baseball Program. He will be in along with, I believe, General Manager Brian Connell as well. Will be here to do the show. We're working on other guests as we are always planning on bringing in different folks and from different agendas, and we will keep you posted on that. So once again, Steve and Cindy, thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you, Harold. We'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that is a date. And hey, be nice to these guys. Jimmy, they're considering maybe coming on the show as a sponsor, so that's good news too. Listen, the rate's pretty cheap. You know, you're only paying for a dog. All I need is Elpo.
Absolutely.
All right. So speaking for Cindy Lorenzetti and Steve Churchill, longtime friends, we thank them for spending time. We know it's not easy to get here at 9:30 on a Monday morning. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the week. It's supposed to be another glorious week weather-wise. Couple of T-storms in the forecast. Hey, baby, we need the rain for the flowers and the plants. Yeah. Take care, everybody. That's a look at weather this week. My way.
by becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
FingerLakes1.com